But we didn't talk about Micah Kaapana. We didn't get into running back recruiting. And Micah Kaapana, as we laid out in one of our previous episodes, has shot way up Michigan's recruiting board and is without question one of the top targets on the board, obviously at running back. And that's even with some higher rated guys on the docket, on the ledger. But very clear to me, and I think it's clear to you, that Michigan is as high on Micah Kaapana as they are any of them.
Yeah, so he's, Bishop Gorman. I think he's 5'11", 195 pounds. But we haven't really been talking about him. We've been talking about Taylor Tatum. He's been the number one running back, I think, in 24/7 sports rankings. A guy he's been to campus. It's been the Thunder and Lightning pairing with him and Jordan, Marshall. But Micah Kaapana, he's a guy that Mike Hart, who's been kind of recruiting for several months now. I know in the spring evaluation period, he went out there, he went to see him. He's a guy that he's really durable, he's flexible, and on top of that, he's always available. He's played in a lot of games. You look at his stats, and Sam, they might not be the most impressive because of how many carries he's got. But then you see the yards. I mean, he was averaging 15 yards per carry. So obviously he
Yeah,
knows what to do when he gets the opportunity. He's a great pass catcher as well with swing passes and, all different routes you can use with him coming out of the backfield too. And he's just an all-purpose type of back. He fits what Michigan wants. And let me just temper Michigan fans' expectations with Taylor Tatum. Obviously, going into this trip coming up next weekend, he's a guy that Michigan fans really want. But I think it's between him and, obviously Micah Kaapana. Darian Dupree, he's a 4-star running back from Mount Carmel. He was supposed to come up this weekend. That visit's not happening anymore. That official visit to Michigan. He, I think, is likely going to Wisconsin. But at the moment, Micah Kaapana, if I had to predict, which I did this morning, I joined you, Sam.
yeah,
I
man.
put in a crystal ball. I think he's going to be the pairing with Jordan Marshall. And that's what I would say for Michigan fans to be very excited about. Obviously, you would have loved Taylor Tatum, but this is a guy I think has similar traits in terms of he might be overlooked or underlooked, I should say, kind of like Benjamin Hall was. But Mike Hart has a good eye for identifying talent and seeing guys who could work in the system. And you saw that with Ben Hall in the spring game. These are
Yeah, man.
guys that he knows that can outperform their rankings because right now you look at Mike Kaapana's ranking. I think he's in the 700s, so it's not the most impressive, but wait for next season. Wait for the next opportunity because, again, he plays at Bishop Gorman, a national powerhouse there on the West Coast, who plays a national schedule year in and year out. So he's facing top talent, and I think right now I would lean towards him going to Michigan.
Yeah, man. I think, look, people need to get to the point where they don't question Mike Hart's running back eval skills, right? I think he can spot talent. And this dude, you're right, he didn't have a lot of carries, but every time he touched the ball, Bryce, I mean, you see him
15,
running
I
over.
mean, 15 yards.
Yeah, you see him
I'm not
running
no
over.
math major, but that's good.
Yeah, and think about and look at how many times it looks like a guy has an angle on him, and he outruns the angle. He runs through contact, so he doesn't go down on first contact. Good feet, catch the ball out of the backfield. And if you're looking at your running back group as a puzzle, like how do they fit together? How do they complement one another? This dude would seem like the perfect complement to Jordan Marshall. I mean, and that Jordan Marshall can run too. Now, make no mistake. I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying, Jordan is but they're a different kinds of back. This guy is your game breaking big play guy who, if you miss a tackle or he gets in the open field, it's curtains. You want a guy that could go 80, right? It's cancel Christmas if this guy sees an opening. So you gotta like it. I tell you this, talking to the analyst, I don't know if we'll ask Brandon about it a little bit as well. But I know talking to Steve Wilfong about it, he says, look, man, rankings are fluid. Like, it's not like you see every guy, by the time the rankings come out. That's why you have updates, right? You see more as the season goes on. And in this particular instance, maybe you need to look twice after you realize how hard in the paint a school is going on the kid. And I think that was the case with how hard Michigan got on Micah Kaapana, because when they offered him, Brice, you could tell. I mean, when they offer him, and then it's like they're all over him. There's certain offers that are getting the game offers. Like you offer a guy, so you're in there in case you want to come back around, and you miss other guys. We know what those offers look like. We see them all the time. But this was, they offered them, and they were like, "Oh, we got to get you on campus as soon as possible. As soon as, if you want to come, it's hey, there's no putting you off. There's no slow play. If you want to come right now, you could come." That's how they've been on Micah Kaapana. Let you know this guy is one of the top guys on the board for them.
I mean, for me, Sam, if he were to come to Michigan, how would you look at it? Like he's the Donovan Edwards, and Jordan Marshall's like the Blake Corum?
Yeah,
that's kind of how I would look at it.
Yeah,
Obviously, talent-wise, they're not quite there quite yet. But if I had to say, who does he compare to coming in? It'd be closer to Donovan, compared to where I think Jordan's closer to Blake. That again, that's not saying he's not fast, because Blake ran Ohio State when he had a bum, whatever leg. So he can obviously do it too. But I think when you're comparing those skill sets to Michigan players of those two caliber running backs, that's who I'd compare him to.
Yeah, so this is not one of those situations where this would be, if it goes like we expect it to go, and we all have crystal balls in for Micah Kaapana to pick Michigan. Here he was blown away. This is, everything points to it, but it's not a consolation prize for it's not like things are not going well with Taylor Tatum, let's jump on Micah Kaapana. This is not that. So it should be clear that if it goes down and you see the disparity in the rankings, and people say, "Oh, this was not a fallback," at least, or this is not, let me state it correctly, this is not a fallback for Michigan. This is a guy that they have right there. I mean, these are negative. Whoever wants to come first, that's who they'll take. And it's looking like that's going to be Kaapana, not a consolation prize in the least, Brice.
Absolutely. I looked at this month coming into Michigan football recruiting as a month of clarity. We are going to find out at a lot of positions kind of where things lined up, where things stand. And I just felt like running back recruiting, that was one position we kind of figure out, kind of find that clarity of what direction they plan on going in. If it is Micah Kaapana, again, I don't think that's them settling. I look at him as a quality, durable, all-purpose type of back that can do many things. Obviously, if you wanted Taylor Tatum, I think they would definitely take him. But at this point, I don't think I would say, this is just my opinion, I wouldn't tell Micah no if he wanted to come before Taylor Tatum.
Right.
And here's the other thing too: if he does come, Micah, I think Michigan's got a pretty good idea of where Taylor Tatum's leaning, because I don't think, again, you jump on a guy without knowing a guy that Taylor Tatum they've been working on for months and months and months. I think they get an idea of where he's leaning. He's again expected to come up still for that official next weekend, but I mean, I just can't see him saying no to Micah. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, hearing a lot of USC. Hearing a lot of USC. Hearing a lot of USC.
For Tatum. Yep.